All right, so South Africa just passed a controversial land reform law allowing the government to seize property without paying for it. Critics are saying it's a dangerous overreach, while supporters argue it is long overdue. And Trump, he's stepping in with an executive order that's turning heads, which is pretty par for the course right now. Let's break down what's really going on here. Okay, so the Expropriation Act, which is the act that's involved here, is a new law in South Africa that allows the government to take private land without compensation in certain cases. The goal here is to correct the racial disparities in land ownership, but not everyone is agreeing on the impact this act is going to have. Now, President Trump has issued an executive order cutting off U.S. aid in response and also creating refugee status. We'll get into that. Okay, so we're going to dive into both sides of this debate. So, what is the Expropriation Act? For decades, land ownership in South Africa has been a deeply divisive issue. During apartheid, black South Africans were forcibly removed from their land, which was then handed over to white landowners. And today, most of the country's farmland is still owned by a small, mostly white minority, which is the group that Donald Trump is attempting to grant refugee status to as we speak through that executive order. Now, to address this, the government has introduced the Expropriation Act, which allows them to seize land without compensation for projects in the public interest. Supporters say it's necessary to undo past injustices, but critics are arguing it's threatening property rights and could definitely scare off potential investors for South Africa. The biggest concern here is who exactly is going to decide what qualifies as public interest. Let's dive into Trump's executive order here. Trump has never been quiet about South Africa and its land policies, ever. And now he's taking action on this. His executive order blocks U.S. aid to South Africa, and he's specifically citing human rights concerns, which in and of itself is turning heads. Specifically, this is the treatment of white farmers that he's talking about. But that's not all. Alongside this, Trump has also announced a plan to grant refugee status, which we've mentioned a few times, to white South African farmers, arguing that they're facing persecution and economic displacement. And you can imagine this is stirring up some pots here. This move has sparked fierce debates. Some say it's a humanitarian effort, while others are arguing that it selectively prioritizes one of South Africa's wealthiest groups of people. So does this order actually hurt South Africa? Not particularly, because the aid that the U.S. is providing, it's not exactly critical to South Africa's economy. However, what it is doing is it is sending a strong political message, and it is raising bigger questions about how land reform is viewed internationally. So, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has defended the law, arguing about racial justice, not revenge. But critics, including international investors, worry this could set a precedent that makes property rights unpredictable, which they're not wrong, right? At its core, the issue isn't about South Africa. It's about how land ownership, economic stability, and historical injustices are colliding and interacting worldwide right now. From Zimbabwe's land seizures to debates over indigenous land rights in the US and Canada, this struggle is playing out in different ways across the globe, and it's spreading. And Trump's move, it raises bigger questions about who exactly deserves the protections and why. So what's coming next? South Africa could face economic backlash here, or this could become a model for other nations. Either way, this debate is going to be ongoing. So what do you think? Is South Africa's land reform a necessary step towards justice, or does it go too far? And is Trump right to step in here? Drop a comment, hit a like, and subscribe for more breakdowns, and we'll chat soon.